If you want to learn something valuable in life and move forward, make sure you watch this video until the end. Just a few minutes of your time could bring a positive change to your life. I promise.
Have you ever noticed how hard it has become to simply be quiet? The very first thing most of us do the moment we wake up is reach for our phones. We check messages, scroll through videos, and absorb the opinions of people we don't even know. Before the day has really started, a constant barrage of notifications and content hits us, leaving our minds completely exhausted. Somewhere in all that environmental and digital static, we actually lose the ability to hear ourselves. When we are constantly reacting to this outside input, we start to feel like we have to contribute to the noise just to keep up. This pressure makes us view quiet moments with suspicion, mistaking silence in ourselves or others for weakness, fear, or a lack of something to say. Yet, unplugging makes most people incredibly uncomfortable. The moment the outside world gets quiet, the inside world suddenly gets louder. The decisions we've been putting off, the questions we've been avoiding, and the feelings we've suppressed instantly rise to the surface. That discomfort is the reason we stay chronically busy. Constant motion is an easy defense mechanism to keep running from yourself. Eventually, though, you have to sit with your own thoughts, endure that discomfort, and finally be honest with yourself. Think about the sheer volume of advice you receive daily. Friends, family, and the internet tell you to play it safe, take a risk, stay single, or get married. And eventually, you end up entirely confused about what you actually want. Cognitive overload is like aggressively shaking a glass of water. The contents become clouded, obscuring what's inside. Silence is setting the glass down. Watch as the particles settle. As the fluid clears, your ability to make decisions returns. This same process is what allows for original thought. When your brain is occupied by other people's podcasts and news feeds, there's no room for a new idea to form. Creativity relies on the space for your existing knowledge to collide and connect in new ways. If the glass is always full of swirling debris, those connections can't be seen. We do not suffer from a lack of information. We suffer from a severe lack of the quiet space required to process what we consume into something meaningful of our own. There is an old story about a man working on his property who lost something irreplaceable. An emotional heirloom, a pocket watch given to him by his father, dropped somewhere inside a massive pile of hay. He tore through the hay. He brought in a group of neighborhood children, offering a reward to whoever found it. They frantically ripped the pile apart, tossing hay and shouting until everyone was exhausted and the search was unsuccessful. Then a little boy walked up and asked to try. But instead of digging or moving a single piece of hay, the boys simply sat down in the middle of the pile and remained perfectly still. Several minutes of total quiet passed. Then the boys stood up, walked to a specific spot, reached in, and pulled out the watch. When asked how he did it, he explained that by staying quiet, he isolated the faint ticking sound and just followed it. The watch didn't appear because the boy sat down. It was already there, hidden by the rustle of the hay. Our own intuition is often just as persistent, but it is easily masked by the volume of everyone else's expectations. You don't need a new answer. You just need to lower the floor of the noise so you can hear the one that's already ticking. Silence is also an incredibly effective tactical defense. You will encounter people who know exactly what to say to provoke you. If someone can say 5 words and ruin your mood for 5 hours, they are in complete control of your emotions. This flowchart breaks down the mechanics of how we communicate. Notice the top path, a red, instantaneous line from stimulus to reaction. A reaction is an automatic, destructive reflex. The bottom path shows a response, a deliberate, intentional choice born out of a critical moment of pause. Deploying that pause works in 3 specific scenarios: when logic fails against an intensely angry person, when internet trolls try to control your emotions, or when you simply lack the facts to form a valid opinion. In all 3 cases, holding your silence is protecting your peace. You have a limited amount of daily energy. Spending it trying to over-explain yourself to people who are committed to misunderstanding you is a waste. Let your consistent actions speak for you. They will communicate far more effectively than explanations ever could. In relationships, there is a distinct difference between healthy silence and the silent treatment. The silent treatment is a toxic weapon used to punish. Healthy silence is simply providing space and genuinely listening to someone without interrupting to lecture. To build this habit, start with 10 minutes a day. Put your devices in another room, sit somewhere comfortable, and do absolutely nothing. Watch your thoughts settle. Then commit to inserting a single deep breath before engaging in any emotional conversation. Confidence doesn't have to be loud. It belongs to the person who refuses to speak just to fill a void. When you stop talking simply to hear your own voice, the words you do choose carry more weight because they are no longer diluted by filler. This makes your presence harder for others to manipulate. But there is another side to this, because as powerful as it can be, there is an unspoken danger when silence goes too far and becomes a problem of its own. Imagine someone hurts you. You're angry and disappointed, but instead of speaking up, you shut down. Choosing to go quiet might feel like a display of strength, but if that frustration is still simmering inside you all day, it's actually a form of emotional avoidance. There is a significant difference between avoiding a problem and maturely asking for the space you need to process it. Healthy silence sounds like, "I need some time to think. Let's talk later." When silence is used to punish or distance yourself for days, it stops being a tool for growth and becomes a tactic for manipulation. Real silence should provide you with peace, not create more tension. One of the most effective shifts you can make is realizing that not every situation requires your attention. Whether someone misunderstands you or disagrees with you online, you don't have to jump into the fray to defend yourself. We often waste an incredible amount of energy trying to curate how strangers perceive us, explaining, arguing, and checking comments, only to find that our lives haven't moved forward at all. The strongest response to outside judgment is often no response at all. Think of your mental energy as a strictly limited daily currency. Every argument and every unnecessary explanation takes a withdrawal from that account. If you start your day at 100%, but spend 20% on an online argument and another 15% comparing yourself to others, you're burning through your resources. By the time you sit down to work on your own goals, your battery is nearly empty. The exhaustion you feel isn't always from doing too much. It's from giving your energy to the wrong things. Before you engage in a conflict, ask yourself one question: is this worth my energy? We tend to prioritize getting the last word, but if that win ruins your entire evening, it's actually a loss. Often, the real victory is simply walking away with your peace intact. When you stop speaking, you start noticing. Silence allows you to observe how people act when they don't need anything from you, who respects your boundaries, and who only reaches out when they want a favor. Words are easy to rehearse, but behavior is harder to hide. Silence gives you the room to see if someone's actions actually align with their claims of support or respect. This same principle applies to your own growth. Character and discipline don't need to be announced to be real. Like the person who goes to the gym every morning without posting it, your results will eventually speak for themselves. If someone repeatedly disrespects you, another explanation is unlikely to change the outcome. At a certain point, words lose their effectiveness. Stepping back isn't an act of drama, it's an act of self-respect. It communicates a boundary more clearly than a raised voice ever could. Real listening is becoming rare. Most people spend their time in a conversation just waiting for a gap so they can speak or defend themselves. But when you offer someone your full, undivided attention, it builds a level of trust that advice alone can't reach. You don't always need to fix the problem. Sometimes the most helpful thing you can do is simply sit there and hear them. This need for constant noise is often driven by our phones. We unlock them without thinking, scrolling through apps and losing hours to content we won't even remember tomorrow. Digital consumption keeps your brain in a state of constant stimulation, which is the opposite of the rest it actually needs to function. You have to deliberately create digital silence. Whether it's the first 30 minutes of your morning or an hour before bed, put the phone in another room and let your mind exist without a screen. Doing nothing will feel uncomfortable at first, but that discomfort is the gate you have to pass through to find actual clarity. To build this skill, try the 5-second rule. When you feel a surge of anger from an insult or bad news, just pause. That tiny gap allows your logic to catch up with your emotions. It gives you the chance to ask, what happens if I react now versus what happens if I wait? Beyond that, try to find 10 minutes every day to just sit in silence. No music, no phone, just you. Don't worry about clearing your thoughts. Just observe them as they come and go, whether it's work, money, or something someone said to you yesterday. While you can't control the world around you, mastering these quiet moments gives you total control over how you respond to it. Over time, these habits of silence begin to influence your behavior. You might notice that you are becoming less reactive and more patient, as the urgent need for outside approval starts to fade. This is where true confidence lives. It's the ability to sit quietly without needing to dominate the room or prove you're the smartest person there. It's the strength to say, I don't know, or to simply walk away from a pointless argument. Not everyone will understand your choices, and that's fine. You don't need to defend your path if your actions are honest and consistent. Eventually, time reveals the truth of your character. Silence is ultimately a tool for clarity. It creates the space you need to make better choices, which leads to a more intentional life. Stop trying to fill every quiet moment with noise. Give yourself permission to be still. When you finally quiet the outside world, you can finally hear the person you've been ignoring for a long time, yourself. And that is where real change begins.
Thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to like, comment, and share. For more interesting and meaningful videos like this, subscribe to The Courageous Mind.